Hi everyone, welcome to our Getting Started webinar for the CanadaHelps Donor Management System. Whether this is your charity's first donor management system or whether you have experience using another database, we're excited to help you raise more money, cultivate better relationships, and foster long-term donor loyalty. Today, we'll dive into how the donor management system ties into your existing CanadaHelps account and do a quick overview of the main tabs in your DMS. Let's take a look. So what is the DMS and what does it do exactly? The Donor Management System is a database built especially for charities that fundraise with CanadaHelps, and it's going to help you do a few crucial things. Firstly, it'll help you organize all of your data in one place so you can get the most out of all of that invaluable information. This includes all of your CanadaHelps donor, donation, and campaign data, which automatically syncs with the DMS on a daily basis. At the same time, you can import your historical donor data into the DMS as well. That is, any donors and gifts that have come from outside of CanadaHelps. This means you'll have the complete picture of your fundraising and stewardship efforts in one spot. And once your full data is in the DMS, you'll be able to keep track of all of your donor interactions and activities and ensure consistent donor management across your team. Plus, you can also help ensure that existing relationships and valuable donor information aren't lost with any staff changes. Along with having all of your data in one place comes a deeper understanding of your supporters. The DMS contains an array of preset reports broken down by campaign, by payment method, by fund, and more to help you better understand your donors. You can also use dozens of filters to create reports that are highly customized for all of your organization's different stakeholders. And you can even pin the most relevant reports to your home dashboard for easy day-to-day access. Your donor management system is also going to help you streamline all kinds of administrative tasks. You can use it to easily process one-time and recurring donations taken over the phone, in person, or from your direct mail response with the built-in payment tool. Plus, it'll take the work out of tax receipting by allowing you to issue tax receipts individually or in bulk with the click of a button. You can also take advantage of the DMS to print or email highly customized thank you messages in real time or on your schedule. And make sure you never miss a chance to communicate with your donors using our built-in email tool or our MailChimp integration. Finally, the donor management system is going to help you recognize potential opportunities for growth by easily identifying key donor and constituent segments. And you can leverage the DMS to track and manage anything from grant applications to major gift prospects to specific projects and more. There are many roles in your charity that can reap the benefits of the CanadaHelps Donor Management System. And we know that oftentimes charities are small but mighty teams of individuals wearing many different hats. So let's explore a few typical charity administrators that can take advantage of the DMS to perform some common day-to-day tasks. It's important for executive directors to provide regular updates on fundraising activities to their charity boards. The DMS can help executives keep track of donations, prospective donors, and grant prospects, and makes preparing for a board meeting that much easier. With the DMS, you can pull dozens of highly customized reports, such as reports by different revenue sources, reports on donor statistics, and comparative reports based on calendar or fiscal year, and pin the most relevant reports to your dashboard for quick and easy access. You can even add your board treasurer as a user so they'll always have access to the latest fundraising and revenue data. As a fundraising professional, you'll likely steward donors a little differently depending on giving level, frequency, or donation source. You can easily identify and bucket these donors using the advanced search or groups functions, and then tailor your communications and fundraising appeals in a more meaningful way. Also, measure the progress of your online and offline fundraising campaigns in real time, and when they're done, easily issue tax receipts and thank your donors with the click of a button. Plus, track and manage grant applications, major gift prospects, and other important opportunities. With the DMS, your finance team can download an array of useful reports showing year-over-year trends by source, helping you plan programming spends and strategic infrastructure investments so that you're less likely to run into cash flow challenges. And easily export pre-made DMS reports for import into your bookkeeping software, such as QuickBooks Online. Plus, use the DMS to process one-time or recurring credit card and EFT donations and issue CRA-compliant tax receipts with just one click. Finally, if you're in marketing communications, you'll likely need to craft fundraising appeals and other communications tailored to specific segments of individuals who've interacted with your charity. With the DMS, you can easily identify these key donor segments within groups or tag contacts as volunteers, program participants, members, former staff, and more for even more stewardship opportunities. Then, leverage the built-in bulk email tool to craft beautifully branded newsletters, announcements, email fundraising appeals, and any other mass communications. Or, if your charity uses MailChimp, take advantage of the DMS's MailChimp integration. Now, let's look at where each of these different functions lives within the DMS. But first, don't forget that your CanadaHelps charity account and your donor management system go hand in hand. As a reminder, when you sign up to use the DMS, we'll take all of your donor, donation, and campaign data that has come through CanadaHelps in the past 5 years and import it into your DMS during the first few days of your onboarding. Then, every day around 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, all of your CanadaHelps data will sync automatically with the DMS, so you'll be able to keep track of any donations coming through CanadaHelps directly in your DMS. Any donations that have come through CanadaHelps will show CanadaHelps as a source, but more on that later. And as a reminder, for any donations coming through your CanadaHelps profile page, CanadaHelps custom donation form, a peer-to-peer campaign, securities donations, or donations of cryptocurrency, CanadaHelps will continue to be the issuing party for any and all tax receipts. On the other hand, for any donations processed through or recorded directly in your DMS, your charity will be the issuing party for any and all tax receipts. That is, any tax receipts will bear your charity's business number, address, logo, and authorizing signature. But we'll look at this in more detail in our tax receipting webinar. Your CanadaHelps charity account is also going to serve as your login for the DMS. Shortly after your kickoff call, your onboarding expert will create your DMS. Afterwards, anytime you need to log into your DMS, you can simply log into your CanadaHelps charity account and click on the Donor Management tab. Here, you'll see an Access Your DMS button. Clicking on that button will bring you straight to your DMS main dashboard. Next, let's take a look at the different tabs in your DMS and what your day-to-day using the donor management system might look like. Every time you log into your DMS, you'll be directed to your dashboard. Your dashboard allows you to see handy, bite-sized reports at a quick glance. These reports, called dashlets, contain insights about your contacts, contributions, activities, and more. Each DMS user can customize their dashboard depending on which reports are most relevant to them by selecting from the available preset dashlets in the top left. Here, you can select which dashlet you'd like to see by clicking to view the available dashlets and dragging and dropping them wherever you'd like to see them on the screen. You can also build your own customized dashlets from the Reports tab, but more on that later. Finally, you can update the data on this page at any time by selecting the Refresh button in the top left-hand corner of any dashlet report. Next, we'll explore your Contacts tab. In your day-to-day use of the donor management system, you'll likely spend most of your time on the Contacts tab. This is where all of your contact records are kept and where you can go to access more information about your donors and other important relationships. Contacts are categorized as individuals or organizations and can be anyone that your charity has a relationship with that you'd like to be able to manage some way in the DMS, such as donors, volunteers, board members, prospects, and more. And as a reminder, contacts include any donors sourced from CanadaHelps, those individuals and organizations that you've historically migrated during your onboarding, as well as any contacts that you've manually added yourself in the DMS. More on that later. On the main contact screen, your contact list will show all contacts in alphabetical order by default. Here, you can see some quick information about each contact, but you can find a few more details by hovering over the Type icon. Using the search bar along the top of your contact screen, you can easily search for a specific contact by typing a full or partial first name, last name, or email address. So, for example, if a donor gives your charity a call, you can quickly type their name into the search bar to find them. Otherwise, you can use the advanced search for contacts to filter your entire contact list by certain criteria, but we'll look at that a little later. For an in-depth look at a specific contact, simply click on their name to be taken to their contact profile. A contact's profile is a great way to learn more about this contact and all the contacts in your DMS. It'll also help you in your donor stewardship efforts. So, once again, if you're on the phone with one of your existing contacts, you can quickly jump into their contact profile to refresh your memory about this individual and their history with your organization. You can navigate the tabs along the top of a contact's profile to view different details about them. The Summary tab shows a contact's basic details, including home, work, or mailing address, as well as communication preferences. Also on the screen, you can see a quick summary of their donation history with important details such as amount of last contribution and total lifetime contributions. Here, you can also see any tags associated with this contact. Tags are visual labels that you can manually assign to donors, but more on that a little later. Finally, you can also view any demographic details and employment information for a contact if available. We can update any of these details at any time by selecting Edit in the top right. Continuing with the tabs along the top, by clicking into the Contribution subtab, you can see a complete overview of a contact's giving history with your charity. Here, across the top, you'll see again some useful donation statistics for your contact, or you can click to view any recurring credit card or EFT contributions being processed directly through the DMS Live Payments feature, if applicable. Just below, you'll see all of this contact's contributions, with the most recent contribution listed first, and you can click on the donation amount to view the specific contribution's details. From here, we can also add a new contribution, but we'll look at how to add a contribution a little later. This subtab can be particularly useful when communicating with your donors. For example, while I have this donor on the phone, I can take advantage and thank them again for their most recent contribution. Next, the Activities tab will show you a list of every interaction that the contact has had with your organization through the DMS, including contributions they've made, emails that you've sent or received from them in the DMS, and other interactions that you've manually logged, such as phone calls or meetings. This will prove useful to you to help you understand what was previously discussed with the donor or any other important past interactions. You can even see if this donor had previously spoken with another team member at your charity who it might be better to connect them with again. You can also add a new activity with this contact from here by selecting New Activity. You can also create custom activity types, such as donor drop-in, under the Administrative Settings section in your DMS. When adding a new activity, for example, a meeting, you can assign it to another user of the DMS, and this user will be notified by email of the activity they've been assigned. When logging this activity, you can also add crucial details such as engagement index to track the interest if this is a prospect, the date of the meeting, its status, or any other relevant attachments that might help the assignee in their meeting. You can repeat the activity or schedule a follow-up to this meeting if needed. Once saved, this activity will also appear as scheduled in the Activities dashlet on the assigned user's main dashboard. The Relationship subtab can be used to track things like a contact's employment status, as well as any personal relationships that they might have with another contact within the DMS. These can also be important details to reference in conversation with your donor while you have them on the phone. When you click on Add a Relationship, you can select from the list of relationship types available, or click on the wrench icon to create a relationship type of your own. You can add multiple relationships to each contact, and once added, you can then easily click into the related contact's profile directly from here as well. Next, you can click to see any groups that this contact is a part of. In the DMS, you can insert contacts into two types of groups: regular groups and smart groups. Regular groups are static lists of contacts that you manually add to or remove from a list. A regular group is typically used for lists of contacts that you don't expect to see change very often. For example, a regular group of contacts who are also your board members. On the other hand, a smart group uses the filters that we'll see later under advanced search to create a dynamic list of contacts that updates based on whether or not a contact meets the set criteria. So, for example, you can create a smart group for donors who have given $100 or more in the past calendar year. Then, every time a contact gives $100 or more within those date parameters, they'll be automatically added to your smart group. And if a contact no longer meets the criteria, they'll be removed from your smart group as well. This is an excellent way to segment your contacts based on key search criteria. You can then perform actions on your groups and smart groups, such as send a bulk email, but we'll take a look at that in our donor communications webinar. The Notes subtab in a contact profile is an easy way to keep track of any other useful information about your contact, such as dietary restrictions or any other special request or past mentions that might come in handy when communicating and otherwise stewarding your donors. And both the subject and body of a note are searchable within your advanced search for contacts. As we saw briefly on the main contact profile screen, tags are visual labels that you can create and manually assign to contacts either individually or in bulk. This can also help you gauge an important piece of information about a contact at a first glance, such as that this contact is a platinum level donor. And once assigned, you can filter your advanced search results to view contacts with a certain tag. For example, you can quickly pull up a list of your volunteers if you've made sure to tag your contacts as such. Within your administrative settings, you can also create a hierarchy within tags, allowing you to create subtags within a larger parent tag. For example, volunteers who are full or part-time, or those who are only seasonal volunteers. Finally, the Opportunities subtab shows any major fundraising or stewardship opportunities that you may have associated with this contact, such as any grants you've applied to, if this contact were an organization, for example, any major donations you're prospecting, or any other opportunities that you're approaching a contact for. For example, an invitation to become a volunteer for your charity. We'll look more closely at the main Opportunities tab in your DMS a little later. Now that we've explored a contact's profile, let's take a look at how to manually record a new contact in the donor management system. To do so, we'll head to your main contacts tab. As a reminder of where your contacts come from, any donors who give through CanadaHelps are automatically added as a new contact in your DMS if they didn't previously exist, or are merged with an existing contact in the DMS. You may also have any number of historical contact records that you've imported during your onboarding. But perhaps you've recently met a new individual who's interested in your charity and who you'd like to start managing in your DMS. In this case, you'll need to add an entirely new contact into the system. If you hover over the Add Contact button to the right of your screen, you can choose whether the contact you're adding is an individual, such as a donor, a volunteer, a prospect, or an organization, such as a government body, a foundation, or a corporation. Don't worry about the household type. This is a legacy feature. On the next page, you can begin to fill out the contact's details. And don't worry, if you start to type in a name that already exists in your DMS, you'll see a warning in the top right of a potential duplicate contact. As you add your new contact, you can proceed to fill out any relevant details that you know about them, including job title, how they like to be addressed, mailing address, contact details such as a phone number, an email address, communication preferences, demographic details, notes, tags, and groups. And whenever you see a wrench icon, you can customize this field even further. For example, I can click on this wrench icon to enable certain preferred languages to choose from. Once you save your new contact, you'll be automatically brought to their contact profile. While the initial profile may start off a tad empty, as you continue to grow your relationship with this individual, you'll see more information such as contributions and activities populate here. Heading back to our main contacts tab, Let's take a look at how you can perform an advanced search to locate all contacts that meet certain criteria. From your Main Contacts tab, select Advanced Search beside your search bar. Here, you can expose the different subtabs to select the filters that you want to apply. For example, you might want to view all contacts labeled with a specific tag, all contacts that live within a certain geographical location, all contacts who've given to a particular campaign, and much more. Once you select Search, if any contacts match your selected search criteria, any relevant search results will appear listed at the bottom of your screen. Then, you can select all or a few of these contacts and select actions to perform any number of actions on these contacts, such as sending an email, adding an activity to all these contacts, adding these contacts to a group, and more. Now that we know all about contacts, let's shift gears and explore the Contributions tab in your donor management system. Like your Contacts tab, you'll likely find yourself in the Contributions tab quite often because it'll allow you to perform some common tasks, including recording a donation you've received, issuing tax receipts, or thanking your donors. The Contributions tab lists all of the donations your charity has received and are tracking within the DMS. It can include historical donations that you've migrated during your onboarding, donations that you received through CanadaHelps.org going back 5 years, and those which you continue to receive, such as through a custom donation form, donations that you've received offline and that you've recorded manually in the DMS, such as cash or checks that have been sent to your organization, and finally, any donations that you've processed through the DMS Live Payments feature. As a reminder, this includes donations of credit card or EFT that you're processing on behalf of your donors. If you're unsure where a donation has come from, you can always look at the source column. Just to note that unlike your contact list, the main contribution screen will always list the most recent contribution towards the top. On this main screen, you can also see some basic information about each contribution, including the date received, the contact who made the donation, the gift amount, the DMS fund that it's been assigned to, any campaign that it's associated with, if applicable, the donation source, the payment method used, the status of the gift, the tax receipt number, if one has been issued, and whether or not you've thanked the donor for the donation. For these last two items, we'll look at them more closely in our tax receipting webinar. If you'd like more of an in-depth look at a specific contribution, simply click on the contribution amount or click on the contributor's name to be taken to their contact profile, and from there, click on their contributions subtab. Just a quick reminder that any donations that you've received through CanadaHelps will sync directly into the DMS and will show CanadaHelps under the source column. This includes one-time or monthly donations made through your charity profile page on CanadaHelps.org, including any profile page campaigns, one-time or monthly donations made through a custom donation form, any donations made to a peer-to-peer campaign, a ticket purchase or donation made through a ticketed event, donations of securities, and cryptocurrency donations. And as a reminder, CanadaHelps will automatically generate a tax receipt for any of these CanadaHelps sourced donations. You can take advantage of your DMS to easily track any and all of your CanadaHelps donations by their source. Now, let's look at how to manually record a new contribution in our donor management system, because the contact that we previously manually added has sent our charity a donation, and we want to be able to track this donation against the new contact. You can add this contribution either from your Main Contributions tab or from within that contact's contact profile. In this case, we'll do it from the Main Contributions tab. Here, select the Add Contribution button in the top right. On the next page, you can search for the existing contact, in this case, our previously added contact. But as a note, you could also add a new contact on this screen if needed. Once you've selected your contributor, you can proceed to fill out the other details of their offline gift. As a reminder, Offline refers to anything that hasn't come through CanadaHelps.org. In this case, the donor has given your charity a check, so you can fill out the contribution details as needed, including payment method, gift amount, the date received, and the fund they'd like this to go towards. If this donation was made as part of a larger campaign, you can also associate it with any existing campaigns you're running. You'll also notice that the source is preset as DMS manual because you're manually recording this gift in the DMS yourself. Finally, you can also decide whether or not you want to exclude this donation from tax receipting and add any notes about the contribution. You can also indicate whether or not the donor has made it as a tribute gift, or if there is a non-deductible portion of the gift, such as an advantage of some kind. Once saved, you can view the contribution details and issue a tax receipt if applicable, but we'll explore how to do that in our tax receipting webinar. In the same way that you can search for contacts in the Contacts tab, for any donations in your donor management system, you can also perform an advanced search to locate contributions that meet certain criteria. To do so, head to your main Contributions tab. Once here, select Advanced Search beside your search bar across the top. On this next page, once again, you can expose the different subtabs to apply a series of filters to your search. For example, you might want to view all donations between a certain amount, those received within a specific date range, gift received as part of a specific campaign, gifts by donation source, donations where a tax receipt was or was not issued, or a thank you has been sent, and much more. If any gifts match your selected search criteria, any relevant search results will appear listed at the bottom of your screen. Finally, similar to your Contacts tab, you can then perform actions on a single or on multiple contributions at once with just one click to help speed up some of your more manual processes. For example, after having used the advanced search for contributions, you can then perform certain actions on your results. We'll look at issuing tax receipts and thanking your donors in more detail in our tax receipting webinar. As mentioned, while you'll likely spend a large amount of time in both your Contacts and Contributions tabs, let's take a look at the rest of the tabs in your DMS, beginning with your Campaigns tab. The Campaigns tab will help you track any online or offline fundraising appeals that your donations are coming through. By default, anytime you create a custom donation form, a peer-to-peer campaign, or a ticketed event in your CanadaHelps charity account, the DMS will automatically add these as their own unique campaign in the DMS. This will make it easy for you to group any donors and donations associated with the specific campaign so that you can easily track this campaign's performance and determine its ROI. As a note, your charity profile page on CanadaHelps.org, including any profile page campaigns that you might have, will also be logged as their own campaign so that you can also pull donation totals for these as well. At any time, you can click on the campaign's donation amount to perform certain actions on that campaign's donors and donations. On this page, you can add contributions that, once saved, will automatically count towards this online campaign. So, for example, if you're running a peer-to-peer campaign through CanadaHelps.org, in other words, an online campaign, the DMS will automatically create a corresponding campaign. But if a donor sends in a check, which they'd like to have counted towards this online campaign, you can still record their offline gift and have it reflected in the fundraising totals for this peer-to-peer campaign in the DMS. That way, you're keeping track of online and offline gifts made to the same campaign without duplicating your efforts or adding duplicate DMS campaigns. On the other hand, if you're running a purely offline campaign, in other words, a fundraising appeal not using one of the CanadaHelps.org fundraising tools previously mentioned, you can also record this campaign manually in your DMS for easier management. For example, let's say your charity has sent out a direct mail appeal to donors and you'd like to track your results on the DMS. From your Campaigns tab, simply click on Add Campaign. Then proceed to fill out your campaign details: name of the campaign, type of campaign, the DMS fund that donation should be directed to, a goal amount, a start and an end date if applicable, and you can even include a link to a website if your offline appeal has a relevant web page. Then, if your donors mail back cash, checks, or credit card details, you can simply add these contributions to your offline campaign using the Add Contribution function we saw previously. As you begin to receive gifts to this campaign, you'll be able to track campaign totals and all contributors to this campaign by clicking on the all-time amount. And once again, here you can perform key actions on this campaign's donors, such as exporting a report of contributions to this offline campaign, issuing tax receipts for these offline gifts, and thanking all donors to this campaign. Next, we'll take a quick look at the Opportunities tab in your DMS. Here, you can see a complete list of any opportunities that you've logged against any one of your contacts. If you recall from our look at the contact profile earlier, opportunities refer to anything your charity is working on in relation to a contact for which you'd like to be able to track the progress. This can include any major donors that you're prospecting, any grants that you've applied to, any projects that you're pursuing, or any other stewardship and partnership requests that you're approaching a contact for, such as an invitation to become a volunteer or a corporate sponsor for your charity. To create a new opportunity, click on Add Opportunities. Then you can proceed to fill out any relevant details for this opportunity, such as a name, who at your organization is working on the opportunity, the contact or prospect that this opportunity relates to, the amount of funds that you'd receive if successful, any specific deadline that you're working with, and more. Once saved, the opportunity will be listed both in your Main Opportunities tab as well as in the Opportunities sub-tab of the associated contact's contact profile. And as you receive any updates, you can head back into this opportunity and edit it as needed. For example, you might come back in here to fill out the amount of money that you've received or add any next steps required of the user assigned to this opportunity. The Reports tab is where you can access over 40 preset reports to unlock deeper insights about the data in your DMS. Your donor management system comes preloaded with the most commonly requested reports for contacts, contributions, tax receipts, activities, and more, to which you can then apply a series of filters for even further segmentation. Additionally, you can select the New Reports button to gain access to over a dozen other, even more specialized report templates. You can customize these reports and save them for future use under your My Reports section, and you can even pin the most relevant reports onto your home dashboard for easy access anytime. The DMS Mail tab in your donor management system is where you can access the DMS Mail feature, also known as the bulk email tool. This tool will allow you to create, send, and manage beautifully branded, personalized mass email communications, such as fundraising appeals, e-newsletters, charity announcements, and much more. Check out our Donor Communications webinar for an in-depth look at the DMS Mail tool. Finally, we'll take a quick look at your administrative settings section, which you can navigate to from any of your main tabs anytime by simply clicking on these settings above your charity's username in the top right-hand corner of your DMS. Settings is where you can access the administrative settings of your DMS and where you can make any configurations to your system, such as setting up your tax receipts, configuring your thank you templates, adding your charity's organizational information, such as fiscal year and mailing address, customizing tags and activities, and much, much more. You can also refer to our tax receipting webinar and our donor communications webinars for more information about configuring your tax receipts and your charity's thank you templates. This concludes our Getting Started webinar for the CanadaHelps Donor Management System. We hope it's provided you with a better understanding of what the DMS is all about and how it's going to help you get the most of your data while simplifying key day-to-day tasks. Check out the other webinars in our series, including our webinars on tax receipting and donor communications using the CanadaHelps Donor Management System.